Somewhere in America right now, someone is walking through an estate sale and they are about to pick up an old double-barrel shotgun, look at the worn bluing, look at the scratched stock, decide it is not worth the trouble, and put it back down. And that shotgun they just put back down is going to sell at a major auction house in 18 months for $40,000. This video exists so that never happens to you. These are the 10 shotguns that are quietly, steadily, and almost invisibly becoming priceless. And if you own even one of them, the smartest thing you will ever do is lock it away and never let it go. Number 10, the L.C. Smith Field Grade, pre-1945. Most people walk right past L.C. Smith shotguns at gun shows. They see an old side-by-side with a little surface rust, a stock that needs refinishing, and a name that is not Parker or Winchester, and they keep walking. That is a mistake that is costing American collectors thousands of dollars every single year, and the window to correct it is closing faster than almost anyone in this market realizes. Here's what you need to understand about the L.C. Smith. It is the only American double-barrel shotgun ever mass-produced with a side lock action. Every other American double, the Fox, the Baker, the Ithaca, they all used box lock actions, where the lockwork sits inside the receiver. The L.C. Smith put the locks on the outside of the action on removable side plates, the same way the finest British and continental European shotguns were built. That is not a small distinction. That is a fundamental difference in mechanical sophistication, and it is a difference that required a level of hand fitting that no box lock design demands. The Syracuse, New York factory where Hunter Arms built L.C. Smith shotguns from 1886 onward was doing something that the rest of the American gun industry was not doing. They were fitting individual lock components by hand to individual guns. Each side lock had to be timed, fitted, and regulated to that specific action. You cannot pull a lock out of a bin and drop it in. A craftsman had to make it fit. That craftsmanship is what you are buying when you acquire a pre-1945 L.C. Smith, and that craftsmanship is gone forever. Marlin Firearms acquired Hunter Arms in 1945 and continued production until 1951, when the line was discontinued entirely. The tooling is gone. The craftsmen are gone. The factory is gone. There will never be another American sidelock double produced at the quality level of the original L.C. Smith. And the collector market is beginning to understand that in a very serious way. A standard field-grade L.C. Smith in 12 gauge was a $300 to $500 gun a decade ago. Today, clean original examples are moving at $800 to $1,500. Step into the ideal trap or specialty grades and you are looking at $2,000 to $6,000 for honest original condition guns. The price curve on these shotguns has not flattened once in 20 years. It has only steepened. If you own one, you are holding a piece of American manufacturing history that the market is just beginning to price correctly. Do not sell it. Number 9, the Savage Model 720, pre-World War II. Production. This is the gun almost nobody talks about. And that silence is going to look very expensive in about 10 years. The Savage Model 720 was introduced in 1930, and it was, in its mechanical bones, a licensed version of John Browning's long recoil operating system. The same fundamental system that powered the Browning Auto 5. Savage had licensed the design, and they built a gas-operated semi-automatic shotgun that was reliable, affordable, and utterly competent. Then World War II arrived, and the 720 went to war. The United States military purchased Savage Model 720s for use by American forces, particularly for aerial gunnery training, where gunners learned to lead moving targets by shooting at clay birds from the back of moving trucks. The shotgun that taught American aerial gunners how to track and destroy enemy aircraft was the Savage 720. That military provenance is real, documented, and almost entirely unknown to the average gun buyer. Here is the detail that separates pre-war production from everything else. The guns built before 1942 were assembled to a commercial standard that the wartime military contracts simply did not require. The bluing was deeper, the wood was finer, the internal components were machined to tighter tolerances, and the total production run for pre-war civilian guns was small enough that clean original examples are genuinely difficult to locate today. Military-marked Savage 720s with documented provenance are already crossing the $1,000 mark at specialized auctions. Clean pre-war civilian production in original condition is not far behind. This is a shotgun that has been overlooked for 70 years, and the overlooking is ending. If you find one at a gun show with original bluing and an unmolested stock, understand what you are looking at before you negotiate the price. Number 8. The Fox Sterlingworth Ansley H. Fox production, pre-1930. Theodore Roosevelt called the A.H. Fox the finest shotgun in America. He was a man who had handled shotguns on 3 continents, who had hunted dangerous game with the best English and American guns money could buy. When he said finest in America, he was not being casual. He knew exactly what he was saying. The Ansley H. Fox Gun Company in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, built shotguns from 1905 to 1929, and then the company was sold to the Savage Arms Corporation, which moved production to its facility and continued building Fox shotguns until 1942. Both guns carry the Fox name. They are not the same gun, and understanding that difference is the entire story. The Philadelphia-made Fox shotguns were built by craftsmen who worked under Ansley Fox himself, a man who was obsessive about quality to a degree that made his company financially unsustainable and his shotguns permanently legendary. The frame-to-barrel fit on a Philadelphia Fox is something that gunsmiths who have handled both generations talk about with genuine reverence. The wood-to-metal fit, the trigger pulls, the balance. These are characteristics that the Savage-era production simply could not maintain at the price point the market demanded. The Sterlingworth was the entry-level Fox, the working man's version of a gun that went all the way up to exotic engraved grades that cost as much as a house. And because it was the entry level, it was made in the largest numbers, which means it is still findable today. A Philadelphia production Sterlingworth in 12 gauge with original case colors and honest wood is selling for $1,200 to $2,500 right now. Those same guns were $300 guns 15 years ago. The Savage-era Sterlingworths are good guns. They trade at a significant discount to Philadelphia production. Learn to tell the difference before you buy or before you sell, because that difference is measured in real money. Number 7. The Browning Superposed, pre-1960 Belgian production. John Moses Browning died on November 26, 1926 in the Fabrique Nationale factory in Liège, Belgium. He died at his workbench. He was working on a shotgun. That shotgun was the Superposed, the world's first successful over-under shotgun, and it was completed and put into production by his son Val Browning after his death. When you hold an early Belgian Superposed, you are holding the final vision of the greatest firearms designer who ever lived. Understand what that means before you let one go for $2,000 at a gun show. The Superposed went into production in 1931. The pre-1960 Belgian-made examples were built at Fabrique Nationale in Liège to a standard that the American market guns produced after FN shifted manufacturing priorities simply never matched. The hand engraving on the early guns, the depth and richness of the bluing, the quality of the selected walnut, the way the action closes with a sound that serious shotgun men describe as a vault door rather than a gun. These are qualities of the first generation of Belgian Superposed production, and they are qualities that cannot be replicated on a production line operating under modern economic constraints. Within the Superposed world, the grades matter enormously. The Grade 1 field guns are the most common. The Pigeon, Pointer, Diana, and Midas grades escalate in engraving quality, wood selection, and finishing standards in ways that the market values very differently. A pre-1960 Grade 1 Superposed in 12 gauge is a $1,500 to $3,000 gun today. A pre-1960 Pigeon grade in 20 gauge in original condition is a $4,000 to $8,000 gun. And the Diana and Midas grades are entering territory where serious collectors do not flinch at $10,000, $12,000 or higher for verified early Belgian production in original configuration. This is John Browning's last gun. The supply of original pre-1960 Belgian examples is finite, and every year more of them get refinished, modified, or pulled into private collections that never return to market. The window on acquiring these at reasonable prices is not permanently open. Number 6. The Winchester Model 42, pre-1963. Winchester built pump-action shotguns in 12-gauge, 16-gauge, and 20-gauge. For decades, if you wanted a pump gun in those gauges, Winchester had you covered. But if you wanted a pump-action 410 bore, a genuine small-bore pump built to the same standard as the legendary Model 12, there was exactly one option in the world: the Winchester Model 42. And Winchester discontinued it in 1963, and nobody has ever built anything like it since. The Model 42 was introduced in 1933 as a scaled-down version of the Model 12, not a compromised version, not a cheaper version, a scaled-down version. It was built on its own dedicated receiver, with its own bolt, its own barrel, its own magazine tube, all designed specifically around the 410 shell. Every component of the Model 42 was purpose-built for one gauge and one gauge only. The result was a small-bore pump shotgun with the same silky smooth action that made the Model 12 legendary, in a package that weighed under 6 pounds and balanced like a fine bird gun. Winchester produced approximately 160,000 Model 42s between 1933 and 1963. That sounds like a large number until you factor in how many have been lost, destroyed, refinished, or modified in the 60-plus years since production ended. Clean, original examples with the original bluing intact and unmolested stocks are becoming genuinely difficult to locate. Here's where the market stands. A standard field-grade Model 42 in honest original condition was a $700 to $900 gun 5 years ago. Today, those same guns are trading at $1,200 to $2,000. Skeet and trap configurations with factory-engraved receivers are pushing $3,000 to $5,000. And the pigeon-grade Model 42, with its hand-checkered stock and deep relief engraving, is one of the most aggressively sought-after American pump shotguns in the collector world, with documented examples crossing $8,000 at major auction houses. There is no modern equivalent. There is no factory making a 410 pump to this standard. The Model 42 is the only one there ever was, and the supply is only moving in one direction. Number 5, the L.C. Smith Specialty and Skeet Grade Fulton Era. We talked about the L.C. Smith Field Grade at number 10. Now we need to talk about what happens when you go up the L.C. Smith grading system, because the distance between a field grade and a specialty grade or skeet grade L.C. Smith is not just a difference in price. It is a difference in what American gun making was actually capable of at its absolute peak. The Fulton, New York era of L.C. Smith production, running from 1915 through the Hunter Arms Company's final years, represents the pinnacle of American sidelock double gun manufacture. Full stop. Not the high point. The pinnacle. There is no American-made side-by-side shotgun that surpasses what Hunter Arms was producing in the specialty and skeet grades during these years, and almost nobody outside the dedicated L.C. Smith collecting community understands that. Here is what separates the high-grade guns. The side locks on a specialty or skeet grade were not just hand-fitted, they were hand-engraved, timed to a standard that reduced the lock time, the interval between trigger pull and firing pin fall, to a degree measurable with precision instruments. The wood on these guns was individually selected. You did not get a standard grade blank. You got a blank that a craftsman looked at, studied, and decided was worthy of a gun at this level. The checkering was cut by hand. The fences, the decorative shaping at the rear of the action where the barrels meet the receiver, were carved to a standard that is simply not achievable on a production schedule. Fulton-era specialty grade L.C. Smiths and 12-gauge were $3,000 to $5,000 guns 10 years ago. Today, verified Fulton-era examples in original condition are trading at $6,000 to $12,000. The skeet grade guns, which were built specifically for competitive clay shooting and featured longer stocks, squared off pistol grips, and regulation triggers, are reaching 8,000 to 15,000 for exceptional examples. And the matching serial numbers on the side locks matter enormously. If the locks have been swapped, if the numbers do not match across the action body and the side plates, the value drops significantly. Learn to check before you sell. Number 4, the Baker Gun Company Double, pre-1915. Let me tell you about the sleeper pick on this entire list. The gun that nobody is chasing yet, that is quietly tripling in value, and that most collectors have not fully recognized for what it represents. The Baker Gun Company of Batavia, New York. William H. Baker designed double-barrel shotguns in the 1870s before founding his own company. The Baker Gun Company produced shotguns in Batavia, New York from 1887 until 1919, and the guns they built, particularly the Batavia Leader and the Batavia Special, represent a level of American box-lock craftsmanship that deserves far more attention than it currently receives. Here's the technical story that makes Baker guns significant. The Baker action used a rotary bolt locking system that was mechanically more sophisticated than the standard crossbolt designs used by most of Baker's American competitors. The barrels were fluid steel, meaning they were manufactured from a steel formula that Baker developed and promoted specifically for the pressures of smokeless powder at a time when many American makers were still selling Damascus barrel guns to customers who did not understand the danger. Baker was ahead of the market on metallurgy, ahead of the market on action design, and building guns in a small New York factory with a level of fit and finish that larger companies with higher production volumes simply could not match. Total production across all Baker models and all years was well under 100,000 guns. Pre-1915 examples with original case-hardened receivers, original barrels, and unmolested stocks are now crossing the $500 to $1,000 threshold in ordinary condition, and $2,000 to $4,000 for exceptional examples. This is a market that has not yet fully awakened to what Baker guns represent. The collectors who understand it are buying quietly. They are not advertising what they know because they are still finding good examples at estate sales and gun shows where the sellers have no idea what they have. If you own a Baker, get it appraised by someone who specializes in American doubles. You may be holding something considerably more valuable than you think. Number 3, the Winchester Model 97 Trench Gun, World War I configuration. In 1918, Germany filed a formal diplomatic protest with the United States government. The protest was not about artillery. It was not about poison gas. It was about a shotgun. Specifically, it was about the Winchester Model 97 pump-action shotgun being used by American soldiers in the trenches of the Western Front, and the Germans wanted it banned as a violation of the Hague Convention. The United States government denied the protest. American soldiers kept their Model 97s. And the trench gun that so terrified the German military that they sought diplomatic relief from it became one of the most historically significant and most collectible military firearms in American history. Here is what made the Model 97 trench gun different from the field gun that civilians were buying at hardware stores. The military configuration featured a 20-inch cylinder bore barrel, a ventilated metal heat shield running the length of the magazine tube and barrel because soldiers were firing so many rounds in close quarters trench fighting that the barrels were getting too hot to hold, a bayonet lug on the end of the heat shield allowing soldiers to fix a standard infantry bayonet to their shotgun, and a military specification finish that prioritized function over appearance. This was not a hunting gun in military clothing. It was a dedicated close-quarters combat weapon, and its effectiveness in the confined killing grounds of the trenches was so overwhelming that the enemy lodged a formal international complaint. The Model 97 was manufactured from 1897 through 1957. 60 years of production means there are a lot of Model 97s in the world. but there are not a lot of verified original World War I trench gun configurations with correct matching heat shields, correct bayonet lugs, and documented military inspector cartouches on the stock. That is a very specific and very small subset of total production. Correct original World War I Winchester Model 97 trench guns with all matching components and inspector cartouches are selling at $8,000 to $15,000 for examples in honest military condition. The fakes and assembled guns are everywhere, and they are worth a fraction of the genuine article. Know what you have. Verify the cartouches, verify the heat shield markings, verify the serial number range against known military contract production. And if you have the real thing, understand that you own one of the most historically significant American military firearms that can still be legally purchased and sold as a non-NFA item. Number 2, the A.H. Fox Grade A through D.E. Philadelphia production, pre-1913. Steve Jobs carried an A.H. Fox shotgun, not a Parker, not a Winchester, an A.H. Fox. The man who was known for his obsessive insistence on quality in everything he touched, who reportedly refused to own objects that were not beautifully designed and masterfully executed, chose an A.H. Fox. That detail tells you something important about where the A.H. Fox sits in the hierarchy of American sporting arms. The Philadelphia factory guns, built under Ansley Fox's direct supervision from 1905 to 1913 before the company moved and eventually sold, represent the absolute peak of A.H. Fox production. We are not talking about a marginal difference from later production. We are talking about guns built in an era when Fox himself was on the factory floor, when the company's reputation was still being established, when every gun that left that factory was a direct advertisement for Ansley Fox's vision of what an American shotgun should be. The grading system Fox used ran from the A grade at the entry level through the B, C, D, and at the top, the DE, the exhibition grade, which was Fox's equivalent of the Parker A1 Special. Fewer than 100 DE grade Fox shotguns were ever produced across the entire history of the company. In 20 gauge, a Philadelphia production DE grade with original case colors, original wood, and documented factory records is a gun that does not come to market often. And when it does, the bidding starts at prices that would shock anyone who still thinks of Fox as the affordable alternative to Parker. Philadelphia production grade A-Fox shotguns in 12 gauge are selling at $3,000 to $6,000 in honest original condition. The grade B and C guns, with their escalating engraving coverage and wood quality, are commanding $4,000 to $9,000. Grade D and DE examples are entering the same territory as high-grade Parkers, with documented examples crossing $20,000, $30,000, and beyond at major auction houses. The trajectory has been consistent and unbroken for 20 years. These guns are not going to become less valuable. The Philadelphia factory is gone. Ansley Fox is gone. The pre-1913 production window is permanently closed. Number 1, the Parker Brothers A1 Special, any gauge. Everything on this list has been building to this. Every shotgun we have covered is a great American firearm. But the Parker Brothers A1 Special is something categorically different. It is not the greatest investment on this list. It is the greatest investment in the entire history of American sporting firearms. Charles Parker founded Parker Brothers in Meriden, Connecticut in 1866. For the next 76 years, until Remington shut down Parker production in 1942, they built what collectors, historians, and gunsmiths consistently describe as the finest American double-barrel shotguns ever made. Then they stopped. Forever. What exists is all there will ever be. Fewer than 80 A1 Specials were produced across 76 years of production. Fewer than 80. Each one was individually built, hand-engraved, and fitted with the finest walnut available. These were shotguns built for presidents and industrialists who understood the difference between the best and everything else. Kermit Roosevelt's Parker, a VH grade not even close to the top of the hierarchy, sold in May 2024 for $105,000. A Parker A1 Special sold in 2006 for over $400,000. Today, that same gun would likely bring $600,000 or more. But here is what most people miss. You do not need an A1 special to be holding something extraordinary. A standard VH grade Parker has tripled in value in 20 years. The supply shrinks every single year, and it can never grow back. If you inherit a Parker, find a specialist before you do anything else. That conversation could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Those are the 10 shotguns quietly becoming priceless. Every single one was built during a window of American manufacturing that is permanently closed by craftsmen whose skills died with them in factories that no longer exist. What remains is finite, and what is finite only becomes more valuable. 4 rules. Follow all of them. Never refinish. Original finish, even worn, even honest with age, is worth dramatically more than a gun that has been made to look new. Never modify. Every replaced part, every aftermarket stock destroys collector value permanently. Keep every piece of paper. Documentation doubles value, sometimes more. And get the right appraisal. Not a pawn shop, a specialist. The difference can be life-changing. If this list opened your eyes, hit subscribe. Next week, I am covering the rarest American doubles that have never appeared on a list like this. You cannot afford to miss it. Stay smart, stay patient, never sell before you know exactly what you have. Ben,